¿Cómo está? Welcome to the Legacy Builders on the Joel Martha Show. This is in continuation of our conversation with Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani. We had a conversation with him on our last episode talking about the challenges that the Philippines faces as a nation. And today on this episode, we're really going to talk about the solutions that Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani has to offer to the rest of the world and to the Philippines by itself. So, Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much that you visit again. And of course, I would like to greet to our brother Muslim in general. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. To my brother Christian, peace be upon you all. And may Allah bless us all.
Thank you, Dr. Albani. In our last episode, you did mention we talked a lot about the challenges of the Philippines, especially with regards to administrative challenges, systemic challenges. We talked about the leadership crisis in the Philippines. We talked about gaps in education system. You also talked about decentralization. And I know, one of your proposals is also about establishing a federal structure of government. And just for the purpose of the audience, federal structure of government is literally the distribution of power between the central national government and the local state government. So I wanted to tap your thoughts about the solutions you have in place for all these challenges that we talked about in our maiden episode. And then I have a few other questions besides this. So I'll use the last 10 minutes to talk about some of the most current challenges that the world is facing. These are global challenges, and I think, you might have a perspective on these challenges. So going back to the solutions you have for the challenges we talked about on our previous episode.
Current situation, if I'm trying to analyze the Philippines, there is no system. So we create simple system with the so-called the e-commerce platform. This is the solution. Because we have an e-commerce platform here in the Philippines, but the Filipino people never own. It is owned by the foreign company. If only the Filipino people understand how much billion that they are siphoning the money of Philippines through that kind of platform. So we are going to build that kind of e-commerce platform in order for us to establish the convergent and convenient. Because Philippines more than 7,000 island. Secondly, we have to create also a payment system. The payment system here, it was owned by a foreign company. It's not owned by a Filipino, which is GCash and Timaya. Even the government patronizing that one. More than 1,000 of non-government organization, they are patronizing that one. We have no such kind of system. Number two is the logistic. We have logistic here, which is the ground in some other small one, but owned by a foreign company.
Okay.
So if we can create that logistic from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, create a system using the e-commerce platform and also the payment system, we are going to integrate that kind of platform. We can establish again and again the convergent and convenient. Number four, the decentralization. I say decentralization, which is the blockchain technology today. We have to create our own utility coins, meaning the currency. Dubai, they have their own Dubai coins. China, in some part of the world, because they are upgrading the technology. But Philippines is backsliding in terms of technology. Now, if we can create that kind of platform or infrastructure technology platform, we have to analyze that the Philippines composed of 44,000 barangay.
Oh, okay.
And we have a leaders in every barangay. From that barangay, we have to appoint 20 leaders in every barangay. So if you are going to multiply 44,000 times 20, that is 880,000. And that 800,000, 20 leaders in every barangay, we will convert into a cooperative. Because that's the foundation of the government. All the problems begin from the barangay. Prostitution, criminalities, kidnapping, drugs, it will begin from the barangay. So we have to solve that barangay. Thirdly, if there is already a cooperative, they will also hire member, which is the family. They want to establish an entrepreneur. Another 20 in every barangay and every cooperative. So 880,000 times 20, that is 17,600,000 database. Meaning, in every barangay, there is a profile. Fishing, agriculture, whatever project that they have in that certain barangay, the government must support a livelihood, meaning support the cooperative. So if there is a system, they are going to fish. The Luzonian people, the Bisaya, they are already waiting for their catch. Agriculture, if you are planting something, there is already a buyer because of that technology. So we can help the small entrepreneur grassroots because that's the bottom line. Almost more than 80% Filipino people sometimes they are jobless. But if we are going to teach them how to become entrepreneur, guide them how to become entrepreneurship with a certain platform, we can eradicate poverty. So that is the main problem, the vital problem of our country. Many community, Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, they're all jobless.
Understood.
So this is only the solution to establish a system in our country because only the system that could discipline people, discipline the family, discipline the corporation, of course, discipline the government. So, most solution traveling around the world, there is no system in the Philippines. Again and again, the only sovereign country has no system, which is the Philippines, meaning has no survey.
I want to go back to the points that you made because I think some of the very outstanding points that you're talking about are, the terms that you use, convergent and the convenience, which I think, makes sense because what you're doing is converging all different platforms into one single platform. And you're talking about an e-commerce platform, especially bringing e-commerce, finance, and logistics on one platform. That's number one. And then you've also talked about the cooperatives, which I think, makes a lot of sense about establishing cooperatives and then administering local governance,
Yes.
right? And that amount results, I mean, the number of people that you're talking about is like 17 million, am I right?
Yes, that is the 10% of the
At
entire
10%
population.
of the population of the Philippines, isn't it?
That is the database.
Right.
Plus their kids, the family. Almost 50%. But the government must support that system. Like in Taiwan. In Taiwan, almost 99.9%. There is no tax evader. Because once we are going to create this kind of system, we're helping the government. Assuming you buy, and then you buy or go to hotel, immediately 12% tax will go direct to the government because we have to integrate the system. So there is no tax evader. Might be other company they don't like, other politician or leader, they don't like the system. But if we can create this kind of system like in Singapore, like in Dubai, like in some other developing country, they are already successful because of that system.
Does that also mean that this system will reduce the tax that goes to the central government?
It's not only reduce because we are the collector. It will become a collector of the government. Why? We have to establish the integration with them. Assuming we have 17 million, they will buy Jollibee. Immediately, the tax will go directly 12%. You'll go hotel, stay in the hotel, you pay, immediately the 12% will go direct to the government. You see, so we are here to establish this certain system helping the national government. Above all, if the government, they are the one who will establish this one, then we can immediately gradually eradicate the poverty.
Okay, so what you're really saying is that your system is going to focus on sustainable development, at grassroots level.
Yes.
That means these cooperators will facilitate entrepreneurship in their local barangays.
Yes.
Given the fact that there are 44,000 barangays and you want to promote local governance, how do you think the implementation of, I think I like the wireframe, of this entire structure. How do you envision the implementation to happen in reality? Because it needs a lot of buy-in from the government itself,
Well,
wouldn't it?
we have two option because even though that you have the system, okay, of course, the system is there already, but with the financial support. Now, and I appeal to the national government, okay, when you have to help go direct to the grassroots because the foundation, I repeat, the foundation of the government, which is the barangay. If the barangay is weak, the administration is weak. If the barangay is strong, the administration is strong. So you have to support your barangay. So that is number one option. Number two option, said it is a cooperative, meaning non-taxable. We can scout. outside world. We can ask grant, donation in some other part of the world in order for them to help the needy one.
So what you're saying is you would give them that autonomy to go and seek support from other organizations outside the Philippines or countries outside the Philippines.
We have already an organization which is the World Philosophical Forum, Philippines. We can seek help. But it's not only in the form of donation, in the form of grant, but in the form of business, B2B partnership. Whatever income that we are going to support to our needy one in the Philippines. So that's our focal point. That's the target. But number one solution here, I hope the government, they understand this kind of platform. We have a lot of budget. They can help the cooperative. But we have to create a system. There is a lot in existing cooperative in the Philippines, especially in the barangay, in the municipality, but there is no system.
And they're
So,
not integrated into
yeah,
one as well.
we have to integrate and create that kind of formula, the platform.
In our previous episode, you talked about the maharlikas, you talked about the 17 regions, and now we're talking about the 44,000 barangays.
Yeah.
So I'm now putting the whole thought process together. These 44,000 barangays are distributed within these 17 regions,
Yes.
and you want to establish the maharlika form of governance where within these 17 regions will be the 44,000 barangays, and within those 44,000 barangays, there will be cooperatives. And to assist those cooperatives, there will be 20 additional support systems, resources that you wish to provide, which eventually will make the entire government economy functional.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think I got the whole thought process around it, and I think that's a very very novel solution. One thing I wanted to ask you about is what is your proposal about the federal structure? How does now the federal structure, because federal structure is also the distribution of power. I mean, even from a legal standpoint, right? You will have distribution of power, distribution of finances, distribution of administration, all of that. So, how do you envision the federal structure in the Philippines with this model in place?
Well, thank you. I really love that question because we Muslim eyeing kind of federalism, and I hope it will be implemented soon in the Philippines. During Duterte administration, when he advocating the federalism, I found out might be this is already the final chance that we can have an equal distribution of political issue, economy, in all kind of distribution. But unfortunately, the federalism during him, it will not foresaw. Now, why federalism is the most important or essential in the Philippines? Because it is already done before. 11th, 12th, 13th to 14th century, during the Maharlikan Empire, meaning the Eastern King dynasty, the Sultanate of Sulu, they adopting the federated form of government under the monarchical concept and linguistic concept. And they are very successful with that kind of formula. There's come again during President Marcos, before I will tackle the federalism, during Marcos,
Right.
he also adopt the federalism, establishing a regionalization form of governance, like Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, to the national
Until
capital
17
region.
regions that he talked
Yeah.
about. Correct. Yeah.
Philippines number 2 in terms of economic development, second to Japan before. Since we are under a democratic country, it's really hard for the Philippine people to establish federalism. So we need to talk about why federalism is very important to the Philippines. Because we are a multi-ethnic culture. Region 1, Ilocano. Leader, the chief minister must be Ilocano. Region 6 also, Ilonggo. It must be the Ilonggo will become the chief minister, not the Ilocano. So, based on linguistic concept. Now, federalism is the most important solution for the country. Why important solution for the country? We need to understand what kind of federalism. Are we going to adopt the federalism of America? Adopt some other Western country? If we adopt the federalism of America based on the module of some veteran lawyer, we are adding problem within the problem. Why? Because American federalism has no culture.
Agree. So you would want to tailor fit it to the context of the Philippines and design an appropriate federal structure for the Philippines.
Yeah, what like before our ancestor during the Eastern King dynasty. We are the number two in terms of economic development in Asia. And what President Marcos did, he copied that kind of political federalism structure and the regionalization form of government. And the advent of Marcos, he can even defang the Senate and the Congress through decree when he combined the 1935 Constitution and 1972 Constitution. He act like more than a king. But that is his structure, a combination of presidential form of government and parliamentary form of government.
Mhm.
So I suggest the real solution for the country to establish a genuine or real federalism suitable to the ethnic culture of the Filipino people, which is did before during our ancestors.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. I want to go back to something that I read in one of your policy proposals, and you talked about that you want or you would propose the government to start working on the reclamation of Sabah. And historically, obviously, from how I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Sabah was actually a gift from the Sultan of Brunei to the Philippines, and then British played a role in sailing Sabah to Malaysia, which is now currently, a part of Malaysia. How do you think, this effort in bringing back Sabah to the Philippines could actually play out?
Philippines must recognize the historical facts of yesterday. They must be the number one recognizing the Sultanate of Sulu in North Borneo. But unfortunately, so long government, they never recognized the Sultanate of Sulu in North Borneo. That's the reason why the Sultanate of Sulu, headed by Sultan Adgiram, he initiate is they are not claiming any form of sovereignty because Sabah is belong to them, historically speaking. Form of commercial in nature. Sabah, the British company, leased to their grandfather. Of course, unfortunately, the British government, instead that they will turn over to them, they turn over to the Malay. And the Malay also turn over to the our national government. They never turn over to the rightful owner. That's the problem. Very complicated. So now, with things to the ears, the Sultanate of Sulu in North Borneo, headed by Sultan Fuad Giram, he won the case in the international issue. But of course, Prime Minister, a new Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, it is his duty and responsibility to protect the sovereignty of Malaysia. Of course, in all costs, he will defend Malaysia. Because now Malaysia not only sinking, sunk already in terms of economy. So, Sultanate of Sulu, under the able leader, His Majesty Sultan Fuad Giram, I repeat, he never claimed any form of sovereignty because he don't want war. The only solution, let's unite, establish the unity and diversity among the Filipino people in that inhabitant in order for us to live peacefully, our own commercial in nature. You pay us because that one is belong to us.
And you're saying that prior to the formation of the Philippines, it was obviously the Sultanate of Sulu.
Yes.
And Sabah was a part of that Sultanate. So, by logical inheritance, it should have been a part of the Philippines, anyways.
Yeah, because Philippines, Sultanate of Sulu is part of the Republic of the Philippines.
Of the Philippines, correct. Thank you. Thank you for, bringing clarity and shedding light on that historical fact. There's one other question that I had. I know that you also mentioned during our last conversation about the capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, shifting to East Kalimantan, and Nusantara is going to be the next capital. And I think the plan is to establish that capital by 2045. And I was really curious about what do you think will that impact have on the geopolitics of the Southeast Asian region and the geopolitics of the Philippines?
Me, as a Muslim in the southern Philippines, it is really, it will create a big impact in terms of economic solution, in terms of economic infrastructure. Why? Because if it is in Kalimantan or no, Kalimantan, that is around part of North Borneo, is something like a walking distance to the southern Philippines from Hawi-Nawi. So when I talk to discuss with the ambassador in some trade ministry, this is really a good to the people of southern Philippines to make a trading alliance with Indonesia, positioning now. Unfortunately now, because there is some geopolitics between Philippines and China, because of Spratly Island, always Philippine Sea, so this is the problem. there is a lot of postponing on the development.
Yeah. So let me, pause you there. So you're saying that the Belt and Road Initiative, which China is pushing, with all countries to connect different countries, obviously, there could also be a potential plan of connecting the Philippines to that Belt and Road Initiative.
The
And you're thinking that the avenue of that initiative could literally be connecting Indonesia with the Philippines and improve trade
Yes,
relationship.
yes. Because
Okay.
the center of trade before, which is in Sulu.
I'm glad that you talked about the Belt and Road Initiative and how it is going to benefit the Philippines, and the fact that the shifting of the Indonesian capital from Jakarta to Nusantara in East Kalimantan will actually be of benefit to the Philippines. And I think I also like the fact that you emphasize upon the Spratly Islands being the bone of contention right now, which is actually putting a pause to a lot of initiatives that you think could have been beneficial for the Philippines, right? I just want to digress a little bit and bring us to the current world crisis. When I think you're pretty much aware of what's happening today, we're talking about the war between Israel and Hamas. And I don't know if you have an opinion around it, given the fact that this has been a complex issue that runs you know far back in time. And obviously there is no way one could actually stand and say I'm taking sides, whether I'm supporting Israel or I'm supporting Palestine, because the complexities are so deep rooted and at many levels. What are your thoughts, and how do you see this crisis playing out?
Well, in behalf of World Philosophical Forum Philippines, we are for peace, we are for prosperity, we are for economic solution, not only in the Philippines but in the whole world. But as a Muslim, when we are trying to figure out the issue, more than 75 years issue already, we're against war because war is not the solution to solve the problem. But we have to analyze there are three vital issue in Israel, in Palestine. Number one, as a Muslim, there is so-called Masjid al-Aqsa. That is the first action, meaning the Qibla of the Muslim. So anybody who will touch or destroy that Masjid al-Aqsa, the whole world, the Muslim 1.6 billion population, they were against to those people destroying that one. And also, there is Joe. Joe, the so-called willing mod. Willing. So, that kind of willing mod, if you try to analyze, that is Jew. You cannot also destroy that one. If you destroy the Jew in the whole world, they will react. Of course, the Christian, the Vatican, they will also react. But I appeal to the Christian Muslim, of course, the Jew. Their teaching is about love, about compassion, about peace, and about prosperity. They never talk about war. And I cannot understand why there is war in Palestine, in Israel. But because there is a geopolitics again. The superpower nation intervening the issue. Instead, the superpower nation will come in to give the solution. But they are provoking something. Because if these three that I mentioned a while ago, the Jew, the Christian, and the Muslim, it's that kind of belief, like the Masjid al-Aqsa, the wall walling, and also the Christian, they, they will be creating a third world war. That's the problem. And I hope the leaders of the world, they must understand. Because this is not about Muslim, this is not about Christian or the Jew. It is about the humanity. How many war that we have been experiencing from 11th, 12th, 13th to 14th century, from First World War, Second War, up to now, we engage in war. But war is not this is not the solution to solve the problem. The always victim it is the civilian people, the innocent one. The civilian, the kid, the children dying. They don't understand about that war. So I appeal, and I hope the United Nations, we have to condemn the United Nations also. It is their job to stop that war in Israel and also Palestine.
Do you think that there is a flaw or an area of opportunity in the peace management process of the United Nations?
United Nation now is really like a parrot. Why I said like a parrot? Because they cannot even propose because the American intervention is there. And I appeal to the whole world, like the superpower nation. I hope China will also intervene in the superpower nation. Will come together.
Have a meaningful discussion.
Yeah, have a meaningful discussion in solve that problem. Because the problem is not about Christian, it's not about Muslim, it's not about Jew. It is about the Jew politics. Because I have been traveling around the world, meeting with Jew people. Their doctrine is about their philosophy of teaching about love, about compassion, about peace, about prosperity. I am a Muslim. The same. That is our battle cry. Teaching about peace, about unity, about compassion, about prosperity, and recognizing the oneness of God. So I think there is someone provoking, igniting to create tension in order that there will be a third world war coming.
Right. And do you know who is doing?
Well, and the whole world knows who is the superpower nation. And I hope, I appeal to the America, under the able leadership President Joe Biden. This is not about you, the America. You will not stay longer in this world 100 years, 200 years. And every human, you will test death. You will die. Why not give chance to those people? Okay? Help. Use your life while you are still living in this world. How to give solution for those problems. Because that is a simple solution. As long as the leader, you are not greedy, you are not using for your own personal business interests, you are using for the people, for the benefit of the humanity, not for the benefit of your country, but the benefit of the humanity. Because we are one. Like Palestine. Of course, they are Muslim. Israel, Christian, Jew, they are Christian. America is a Christian. China, in the whole world, we are a different ethnic culture, religious belief. But we are all one from God. So why we fight? So there is something wrong because of geopolitics. So and I appeal again to the United Nations, to the superpower nation like China, America, Russia, of course, Saudi Arabia, come to the open. This is your task. The reason why we create the United Nations. It is an organization of all nations to solve and every individual problem of the different country. That is their task and duty and responsibility. Why the Muslim world was they create the so-called the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, equivalent to the United Nations. In order, if there is problem Muslim, they will intervene. So this is the time. You have the voice, you have the power to communicate. This is the time. It's not for war. Because war is not the solution to solve the humanity problem.
Thank you. On that note, Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani, it was so wonderful talking to you. And I thank you for your thought-provoking insights and also the appeal that you made to the United Nations and, of course, to the rest of the world. I hope everybody, all our audiences will resonate with what Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani has to say and his thoughts. And let's all, come together, whichever country we belong to, come together, as a community and be a part of bringing people together, a peacemaking process, rather than focusing on dividing the world and putting nations apart.
Thank you so much, my brother Joel. I hope this is only the beginning. It's not only our duty and responsibility. Might be other than this interview, we can work together for humanity, for business, anything that we can do, some collaboration for humanity. We are here. We are your brother. In the name of Allah, let's work together.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
So that sums up the two-part episode of my conversation with Dr. Shariff Ibrahim Albani. That was a very insightful conversation and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I, for once, had a lot of learnings from this conversation, especially with regards to what it takes to be a visionary leader and how to create great wireframes for a wonderful execution plan. Again, guys, thank you very much for being on the Joel Mata Show, Legacy Builders, and hope to see you on my next episode. Until then, paalam.